I'll tell you later. Close your eyes quickly. I didn't tell you to open it. You are not allowed to open it, otherwise it will not be cured. Han Ling Yuan had many questions, but she also followed the little evil words and opened her mouth and eyes, because she had an unspeakable good impression of this evil man, and his words had made Han Ling feel irresistible and unwilling to resist. Xiaoxie immediately took out the dagger and slashed his left wrist, and the blood dripped straight to Han Ling, and he shouted, "Swallow it, your eyes are not open." He's afraid that girls won't dare to drink blood, so if you don't look at it, it's fine. Han Ling only felt that her mouth was salty and fishy, but she didn't expect it to be human blood, and she swallowed it in her stomach according to Xiaoxie's instructions. Less than 10 drops, the little evil wound has condensed. He slashed again. He thought that 10 drops may not be enough, and he cut 3 times in a row before he was satisfied with the hand. In fact, as long as 1 drop can save Han Ling's life, imagine 10 years, constantly boiling more than 100 kinds of medicinal materials in boiling water every day. How many buckets of potions will be used up? 10 years of medicinal materials are piled up with a small mountain high, and concentrating the medicinal materials of the small mountain high into Yang Xiaoxie alone, it can be seen how high the amount of medicine in his blood is. All right. As soon as the little evil hand is collected, if nothing happens, I hope like Hanliang. Han Ling opened her eyes and asked, "What kind of medicine is so hard to eat?" Ro Yi wiped the corner of her mouth. She immediately exclaimed, "Blood! It's your blood!" She froze, staring at Xiaoxie with wide eyes. Xiaoxie smiled, "How? It doesn't taste good. But you're going to settle for it." Han Ling's eyes were already flowing with tears. She was so moved. Just one by one, the little evil actually saved her with blood. This love, the mountains and rivers are difficult to repay, so she cried. She cried with gratitude, and she cried with emotion. Xiaoxie is most afraid of seeing a woman crying, whether it is a happy cry or a painful cry. He doesn't want to see it. He digressed the topic. "Han Ling, hurry up, I'll help you." Saying that, his hands had been pressed against Han Ling's sun temples to carry out his true qi. Han Ling didn't dare to be negligent and immediately cooperated with the little evil true qi to heal her injuries. Soon, the little evil head was full of mist, and Han Ling's chest also burst out of black, and her face changed from white to red. 2 hours and 1 week, the sky was already dark, and there was silence and flowing water. The little evil has stopped and pulled out the golden needle on Han Ling's body. Han Ling also woke up faintly. After putting on the top, he looked bright, and there was no trace of illness, and the blood of the little evil really solved the poison of the yin and yang palm. She walked towards the little evil and bowed down gratefully. "Thank you, Brother Yang, little evil." Xiaoxie shouted, "What Brother Yang, Xiao evil, just call my name like this." Han Ling Huan smiled and said, "Okay. Call your name by name, Yang Xiaoxie, Yang Xiaoxie." She called 5 times in a row. Little evil said, "I know why you screamed 5 times in a row." Han Lingqi said, "No, I just called your name, and I didn't have any other intentions." Little evil said, "When you were a child, did your mother often tell you not to run around?" Han Ling said quietly, "I don't have a father, only a brother." The little evil said, "Then I'm sorry." "Okay, let me tell you, you keep calling my name leaning on the waist, and the child leaning on the mother's body is called leaning on the waist, understand?" When Han Ling heard this, she exclaimed, "What does it matter, Yang Xiaoxie, Yang Xiaoxie?" She called more than a dozen times in a row. The little evil laughed and said, "Oops, you are so pitiful, and leaning on the waist is so powerful." After a pause, he said, "There is a kind of Hokkien people in Fuzhou, and the Mountain dialect they say leaning on the waist means that children are hungry and crying. What do you think?" Han Ling said angrily, You dare to scold me? If you say it, you will fight the little evil." The little evil smiled and said, "Alas! Lean on the waist and lean on the waist, why be ashamed? I think that my old man didn't rely on my waist and back pain in the same way. Okay, don't make a fuss, this toss is a little hungry, you don't lean on the waist, I have to lean on the waist." Han Ling sneered, "When you say this, my stomach is also leaning on the waist." Ha ha! The two laughed at each other. "Little evil Dao, you wait." As he spoke, he walked to the entrance of the cave, and Wang called out more than 10 times, and then changed and kept screaming. Han Lingqi said, "Yang Xiaoxie, what are you doing? Keep calling." The little evil sighed, "I was lying to the dog, but the dog didn't come, and the wolf would have reacted, but when you interrupted it, the wolf didn't come." Han Ling felt that he had a lot of ghost ideas, but this hole was found by the mountainside dog, and she said, "Even if you deceive you can't catch it." Xiaoxie patted his chest and said, "I am the ancestor of dogs, as long as I fart, they will be shocked to death." "Why are you so unhygienic, so unhygienic?" "Bullshit!" Han Ling couldn't help but laugh. The little evil said, "People are all farts, anyway, some people eat and laugh, haha." He was laughing at Han Ling. Han Ling suddenly burst into laughter and said, You. She didn't know what to say, so she kept her mouth shut. Xiaoye was surprised, "Wowka, it turns out that he is still a master, and he refuses to let go of the taste left in his mouth, admire and admire." Han Ling didn't open her mouth, and she didn't close her mouth so much that she was in a hurry, so she had to beg for food. She said, "Brother Yang, you can feed me." Xiaoxie smiled and said, "Okay, for your sake, I'll feed you, but unfortunately the dog didn't come, the wolf didn't come, I'm about to starve to death, it's better to kill myself than to starve to death, my clothes are still new, you can keep them." He took off his clothes and handed them to Han Ling. Han Ling was shocked, "Little evil! You can't mess around, can't you mess with you? I'm not going to you off anymore, okay? Now I want to jump into the river and commit suicide by jumping from the halfway point of the mountain to the waterhole below. I am Yang Xiaoxie, and the evil sect is very immortal, so you have to be happy and say, 'Brother, you go slowly. By the way, bring a few fish in the water for me, and I will sacrifice your soul.'" Han Ling glanced at him and said, "Brother, you walk slowly, bring me the fish back." "Sacrifice to you?" she stammered. Xiaoxie patted her on the shoulder and sighed, "Goodbye forever." As soon as he turned over, he rushed to the waterhole. "Little evil!" Han Ling was shocked, she didn't expect the little evil to jump, and suddenly she was too sad and fainted. Xiaoxie had already experienced this diving technique several times, and he had already observed the location and depth of the waterhole in the cave, so he dared to jump like this. But people are not as good as heaven, there are convex stones in the pool. Xiaoxie rushed down, just right, hit his head with a long bag. Xiaoxie smiled bitterly, grandmas can't eat dog meat, but eat buns first. Wow Jia. It's still a big steamed bun in Shandong. The bun looked like a bad headache and died, and the little evil didn't dare to stay longer, caught 2 red carp and ran back to the cave. Wow! Frightened and stunned, the little evil looked at Han Ling and sighed, and soon the little evil had woken up Han Ling. Han Ling woke up and was about to crawl towards the entrance of the cave, when she found Xiaoxie standing in front of her, and she said strangely, "Xiaoxie is." She thought she was dreaming. Little evil Dao, alas! You women, you give me this trick if you have nothing to do, didn't I tell you I can't die? Han Ling's face was red and she looked at Xiaoxie in embarrassment, only to find that Xiaoxie had a tumor on her head, and she couldn't help but snicker. The little evil sighed, "I originally wanted to drink from the King of Hades, but as soon as the King of Hades saw me going, he immediately called the bullhead and horse face to block me. He was afraid that I would rob him of the throne. I originally said with the bullhead horse that I would be the King of Hades, who knew that they rebelled against me halfway, and beat me to a big mango on my head. I couldn't usurp the throne and had to come back again." Han Ling saw that he was really funny, and she forgot that she had just fainted with sadness, and she said, "I thought you really killed yourself." The little evil said, "Nonsense, how beautiful is the world, there is a reason to commit suicide. I love to laugh and laugh. Come, let's bake these fish and eat them, so as not to lean on the waist and keep leaning on them." In laughter, they grilled the fish and ate it.